And then a last thing for this overview, before we jump more in details into the plugin dashboard and the settings, because I'm just reminding you that we did not set anything in the plugin settings. We just installed it and opened Bricks. So what we see is the default behavior. So let's get rid of everything here. And the last element I want to show you before we go to the settings is the structure builder. You probably know that it is important for accessibility reasons, for SEO reasons, to have a proper HTML page structure. And a proper HTML page structure implies using semantic tags whenever this is possible. And when you use native Bricks elements, for example, let's insert a simple text. This simple text is not a paragraph in the output HTML, it's a div. And a div has no semantic meaning. If I want Bricks to actually create a paragraph element, I need to come to my HTML tag and set it to a p tag. And this time, in my page structure, my text will be a paragraph. But otherwise, by default, it's a div. If I want to create a div and make it an article, that's the same thing. I need to come to my HTML tag and select the proper HTML tag. So you have to think to take care every time to come to this list and select the proper tag. And as I don't like to have to think every time, and I like to make things easier, I did include the structure builder. So in your structure tree, you can right click and you get the usual Bricks context menu, but with additional values on top of that. You can see that I get context menus, and there are a few of them. The first one, it's simple. It's only adding the same element as you get here. It's just a shortcut because I don't really like to have to click in my structure tree and then click on the plus icon and then choose my element and come back to select where I want to insert it. Okay, I want a section, and inside of my container, I want to add a heading and I want to add a basic text, but then inside of my section, I want to add another container, etc., etc. Okay, that's a lot of going right and left. So instead of doing this, I can simply use this one, add a section plus container. So that's interesting. That's a brand new site. I never used the context menu, so I get a pop-up asking me if I want to authorize access to my clipboard. And you have to authorize access in order first for Bricks copy and paste feature in the structure tree to work. That's not an OxyProps feature, that's a Bricks one. But as OxyProps uses Bricks features, you need to authorize the access to the clipboard in order for the structure builder to work. So let's authorize. And now my element was pasted. And if I want to add a heading inside of my container, I right click the target parent and I will insert a heading. And then I right click the parent and I will insert a text. And then I right click the section and I will insert a new container. And then inside of my container, a new heading, a new text, etc. But these are native Bricks elements. They don't have more semantic tags than the native elements. So you still have to come to your text, so the basic text, and to change it to a p tag. Okay, so what if I want to directly insert the proper tag without to selecting it? Well, in addition to the Bricks native elements, we have the semantic elements. And in this menu, you will get different categories and different HTML tags. And so, for example, if I want to output a section Bricks elements, and that comes tricky because we must understand that what is called an element in the site builder is not always, and actually most of the time, it's not directly an HTML element. So this creates a bricks section, but assigns the proper tag to generate the semantic HTML element. Okay, so this one, for example, is simple. It creates a section with a tag of section. And to make things clear, the pretty name in the structure tree states what semantic tag will be output. So it will be a tag of section using a section element. Let's add a container. A container is a div. It has no specific meaning. And inside of my container, I want a heading, but I want an H2 and not the default heading. So I can directly select which level of heading I want. So I can add an H1. And you can see that this is an H1 with a tag of H1, but I can also add an H2. And it's directly inserted with the proper tag. And if I add a paragraph, I get a text with the proper tag. Okay, and this menu also allows us to insert more complex things like components. For example, most of the time when you build your page, you will create sections, and when in your sections you will have a heading, a paragraph of text, and certainly a flexbox with cards or a grid, etc. So to lay out things faster, I can choose, for example, a section plus header centered, which automatically generates this structure with a heading, a subheading, a paragraph inside of a section. And by the way, when generating this structure, OxyProps did already link, let's have a look, my heading as a specific ID. And this ID was automatically linked to the section. And we have to dig inside of bricks to find it attribute with an area labeled by with my heading ID. And if you watch one of my previous videos about ARIA landmarks, you know that this is important to generate the proper semantics so that your accessibility tree actually uses region landmarks for your sections. Without this link between the section and the heading, the section is not identified properly as a region landmark. Okay, so don't mind, OxyProps does the job for you if you use the structure builder. And then inside of my section, I also want to add a section body, and I want a grid with 3 columns to insert cards. And inside of my grid, I want to add cards. And let's choose this one, for example. And as you see, everything was added with the proper semantics. And let's duplicate it. So we quickly get the structure for our section. Okay, so now that we have a good overview of the different features OxyProps adds to your builder, to your bricks editor, and it's the same in Oxygen, let's get back to the plugin dashboard and have a look at the different settings, and that's what we will do in the next video.